So things you probably should study: science, technology, engineering, and math. We just want people who know how to learn. We want people who are teamwork, who know how to do teamwork. Christina is a scientist who you saw in the video here, right? Some of the other ones are pilots as well, but we have teachers, we have veterinarians, we have chemists, we have physicists. Anything in the science, technology, engineering, and math background is what we're looking for.
Awesome. So obviously we are now trying to go back to the moon. Can you maybe put into words first why getting back to the moon is important, both for the space program and for like humanity?
Right. So much has changed since the Apollo program. Why not put those technologies into a program to go back to the moon? And we're going to do it better, smarter, safer. And we're going to do new things. We're going to go to the South Pole of the moon. That's our plan. So the first mission, which should be next year, we're going to go back to the vicinity of the moon and check out those landing spots where we might want to land on the South Pole. South Pole, always illuminated. South Pole potentially has water. Maybe we can do what we did in space, build a space station on the moon, and we'll learn how to actually have people live there for an extended period of time. Remember, I told you people are living on the space station since 2000. So maybe we can do that. We can figure out all the problems in the vicinity of Earth, 2 to 4 days to get to the moon. So if we have a problem, an issue, we can have folks back on Earth help us. We want to do that before we take those bigger steps to go on to Mars and explore further. So what does this do in the meantime? Sort of what I talked about when I first came out here, right? It makes us ask questions. How to? Let's try this, let's try that. And that's going to maybe lead to answers, maybe lead to failure, maybe lead to new answers, or new questions rather to ask. And so that's what's keeping us advancing, just like Jeremy talked about. We'll be stagnant if we just stay here and did only the same thing we do over and over and over again. How do you explore? How do you bring on new technologies and new advances? By doing something bold like this is a big team effort. Do something bold, find out new questions to ask, and bring those answers back here to our plan.
So if you were going to sum up some of the big main differences between Project Apollo, which was what we just saw, and Project Artemis, which is going back to the moon, what are some of the summing up the big main differences?
Yeah, so I used the word sustainability. What that means is we're going to go and we're going to stay. That's essentially what it means. We have a sustainable presence on the International Space Station right now, and that's what we want to do on the moon. And that's going to drive us to understand how we use the resources there on the moon, like the ice on the pole, like maybe oxygen chemicals that are in the dirt of the moon that we can maybe generate and have people stay there. We don't know how to do all that quite yet. Those are all questions. We're working on it, but we don't have all those answers. So being able to do that, like I mentioned, is going to help us find new questions and new answers out there. And being able to do that will help educate us even more and more. So there's no lack of work here. I think everybody in this room times 10 at least, or 100, could be working on these problems. They're difficult problems, hard to solve, hard to even imagine before we get the next footsteps there to take samples and like they did and try to do all those things there sustainably.
So obviously this is a very difficult endeavor that we're talking about here, and it's going to need people who are really motivated to get there and to accomplish all these things. We've got, hopefully, some future astronauts in the room. What do you think is the best way to inspire future astronauts to be ready and willing and excited to undertake these challenges?
Yeah, I ask questions at school, right? Learn as much as you can. If you're interested in anything that has to do with space, there's a plethora of resources on the internet. If you look up NASA, International Space Station, Artemis program, see what we've done, where we're going. I mean, we've done stuff on the International Space Station, for example, like stem cell growth, DNA sequencing. I was mentioning algae earlier today. So all sorts of things that we have done up there, those are all things that are helping to understand how humans live in space. You guys can read about that, learn about that, ask your teachers about it, be involved in robotics competitions. How about that lunar rover, right? We need to do that a little bit better. We found problems with that rover. Too much dust in the spacesuits, new materials. All of that are things for all of us to try to understand and learn about and ask
Now, you are obviously a very experienced space flight veteran. Do you have a favorite memory of your time in space, a favorite moment?
Oh wow, so many. Being in space is incredible. First of all, I get really good hair when I'm in space, like everybody would. I'm not unique, but I try to have my hair not tied up just so people could see it, because everything we do up there is microgravity. You can't get away from it, right? So I think my favorite moment really on my last mission was Christmas time, because I was the only girl up there with 5 other guys, 6 other guys rather, and I got them to decorate Christmas cookies. So we had shortbread cookies, and that's easy. I didn't have to bake them. But then we had all sorts of different things to decorate. And what's cool about being in space is you can decorate vertically. You don't just decorate horizontally on your cookie. You can make a log cabins, you can make spirals, you can make frosting that grows. It's so fun. It's just an example of living someplace different, thinking out of the box. And I got all 6 guys to have a lot of fun.
Who was the best cookie decorator?
Oh, I was, of course. I had more experience, I think.
So I am personally fascinated by the idea of doing a spacewalk, being out in space with, you're your own little spaceship. It's just you and a spacesuit. And can you talk a little bit about what that's like, or you've done so many. Was it different from your first one to your last one?
Oh, they're all super exciting. Like you mentioned, the suit is its own spacecraft, right? So getting into the spacesuit, the other folks who are getting you dressed or helping you out, it's a lot of work. It's over 200 steps to make sure everything is tightened down, everything is correctly fitted. We do a leak check beforehand. We're breathing oxygen, so we have a process in which we're trying to get rid of all the nitrogen out of your body, so you don't have any aches and pains in your joints, called the bends, which we can do as the pressure changes. And so that process takes about 3 hours or so to get ready to go out for a spacewalk. And we practice all of this in a big pool in Houston, Texas, called the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. It's it's probably about as big as this room, 202 feet by 102 feet, 40 feet deep. And we have a mock-up of some of the things that we'll be doing out there. So we have it in our head. You don't have any piece of paper that you can rely on. You have everything in your head, how you train, what you're going to do. You practice it on in virtual reality with the computer beforehand, and so you can see where you're going, what you're going to do, and there's a process of getting the hatch open, and then you go. Then you're out there. And I will say, the first time I went on a spacewalk, I was the second guy out the hatch. So the first guy goes out the hatch, and I'm handing them some stuff out the hatch. I had myself halfway in the hatch, my feet hanging out, and I'm passing some stuff. And anecdotally, my mother thought that I got stuck in the hatch and I couldn't move. But actually, I was just passing some stuff out, and then it was my time to get out. So I go out of the hatch, and it's dark out, so they tell us, Mission Control, you can see too, hey, it's nighttime. Because remember, we go around the Earth every hour and a half. So 45 minutes of nighttime, 45 minutes of daytime. So it's dark. I put my lights on, and I can see just right in front of me where my hands are. And I have, again, done all that training, one in the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, 2 on the computer, so I know where I'm going in my head, and I'm translating around to where I'm supposed to go. I give a second tether, hook myself in, and start to work. And as that happens, the sun starts coming up, and there's the Earth below me. I was like, oh my God, it's like way down there. So I held on a little tighter. I had to sort of get my heart under control. And it's okay, you're all tethered in, you're tight, you're okay. And you only have so much time, so keep working. So the thought process there is there's a lot to do, and you want to do your job, but you have to take a moment sometimes and look around and see where you are. On my last mission, I was out with a gentleman, Aki Hoshigi from Japan, and we were on the top of the space station. I was sort of leaning toward him, and he was leaning toward me, and then we're looking at the Earth because we had a moment, and we were arguing about where we were on geography over there. I think that's the Strait of Gibraltar. No, I think that's over here. And so finally, Mr. Control says, hey, stop arguing. We're over the Strait of Gibraltar. Let's keep working. Like, oh yeah, okay, sorry. You can't help yourself but look at our amazing planet when you're on a spacewalk, and then it brings back exactly where you are and what you're doing. Honestly, though, sometimes after the end of a spacewalk, I thought to myself, I can't believe we just did that. It's pretty crazy. Every human emotion, I think, goes on in those 6 hours. You're hot, you're cold, you're hungry, you're psyched because everything is working really well and you've got a beautiful view. And then you have to pee, and you pee, sometimes 1, 2, 3, 5 times. We're equipped, we have a diaper inside, so it's okay. We pee, we come, you know, every little thing happens to you. You're worrying about making sure that you and your partner get back in the hatch, get all of your equipment in, finally close the hatch. And it's just a big relief that actually we did our job and we came back.
Oh, that sounds just so cool. Well, as much fun as I'm having asking questions, I don't want to hog the opportunity. So I am happy to run a mic over to anybody who might have, from the audience, who might have some questions for Suni. Anybody?
Okay, give it back first. I have one.
Oh, we have a mic in the back. Excellent.
Do you ever miss space?
Do I miss space? Yes, and I dream about it. My father was a neuroscientist, and he asked me that question, the same question, and I said, yes, so much that I can remember being there. I remember doing things up there, and I think we dream from experience, and I dream about it every now and then. I absolutely miss space. And so why, you might ask, right? Because it's a cool place to be. It's a cool perspective, like you saw. And it's also a really neat thing because we're able to really focus on. And I said, hats off to my family who had to actually cut the grass, walk the dog, pay the bills, and do all those home things. I didn't really do those things, so I could really focus on what I was doing. I didn't have to worry about traffic. I didn't have to worry about lines at the coffee shop. It was awesome. And I bring all that up because I hope you guys can do that at some points in time. Maybe on the weekend, not worry about all the other junk that's in your life and focus on something that's really fun and really, really, really enjoy it, because it's a neat perspective to just enjoy what you're doing at the moment in time.
How long did you stay on space?
So how long did I stay in the space station, right? I've been up a couple times, but this last time was only supposed to be a week. So I actually was supposed to come home and cut the grass, and I promised my husband only a week to walk the dogs, but unfortunately, I was up there, well, fortunately, also, I was up there for 9.5 months. So I owe him a couple dog walks and a couple grass cuttings, and also some shoveling. I know that. So I was up for a long time this last year, and it was great because we got to see seasons change on different parts of, the northern hemisphere and then the southern hemisphere. That's pretty cool. We also got to see amazing aurora. You guys might have seen it last year, last summer. It came down a little south, such that our space station flew right through the center of it. We actually saw 2 comets while we were up there. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I was only up there for 8 days. So I'm very thankful for my 9 months of space.
That sounds so amazing.
Hi. Remaining completely apolitical, can you discuss whether or not you ever felt that you were marooned or abandoned up there, or were you actually necessary to fully crew the space station?
So, what happened to us was a little bit of a surprise. A lot of people weren't ready for us to be up there for a long period of time. The space station plans for about 4 months extra, and extra people when it comes to food and clothes and all that kind of stuff. So I think there was a little bit of a, oh my gosh, and I guess that was maybe the stuck part, just that, oh my gosh, how are we going to handle this? But I know, and Butch knew, we have hundreds if not thousands of people working on, just like in the Apollo program, working on making sure that we're safe and we have a way to get home. Maybe it's not the optimal way to get home, but we have a way to get home. We have enough food, we have enough clothes, and all of that was being worked. And so I personally never felt that I was abandoned or stuck. On a regular basis, maybe every other day, we were talking to our engineers who were working on the problem, the specific problem we had. And on a probably daily basis, we were talking to the space station program folks. And of course, on a minute-by-minute basis, talking to mission control. And so we were working alongside with all of these people. So never felt abandoned or stuck. Felt that maybe this wasn't the optimum situation and a big surprise for a lot of people. But we can handle diversity. We can handle issues. We can handle problems. I knew that.
we're following your flight very closely at the museum. I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm wondering, we are talking about Artemis 2. I wanted to know what happened to Artemis 1.
Oh, Artemis 1 was fine. Artemis 1 was launched without a crew on it, so I think that wasn't why it wasn't advertised as much. So Artemis 1 went perfectly fine. We launched on a different rocket because we weren't ready with the Space Launch System. We launched on a Delta IV rocket, an Orion capsule. It went up to space about, I can't remember exactly the distance, and then came back. So we learned a lot from that, and that's what we do. We do things without people on them when we want to test